Imagine two countries, neighbors in the heart of Southeast Asia. To the west lies Thailand, a bustling nation famous for its vibrant cities and beautiful beaches. To its east is Cambodia, a land of ancient wonders and resilient people. These two nations share more than just a border. They share a deep and complex history that stretches back over 1,000 years. This history is deeply intertwined with India, a connection that many people are not aware of. Centuries ago, Indian culture, religion, and ideas traveled across the sea, influencing the kingdoms that would one day become modern Thailand and Cambodia. This ancient link is why we in India watch the events unfolding there with such concern. The cultural and religious ties are profound. Hinduism, and later Buddhism, flourished in this region, leaving behind a legacy of magnificent temples and traditions that echo Indian origins. The Great Khmer Empire, which once ruled over large parts of both modern Cambodia and Thailand, built incredible temple complexes dedicated to Hindu gods like Shiva and Vishnu. These structures are not just old stones, they are living symbols of a shared past and a testament to the influence of Indian civilization in Southeast Asia. For Indians, these temples are a source of pride, a distant echo of our own heritage. Seeing them caught in the crossfire of a modern war feels like watching a piece of our own history being threatened. This shared heritage makes the current conflict all the more tragic. It is a dispute between two brothers, two nations whose cultures grew from the same roots. The languages, the art, the dance, and even the food in Thailand and Cambodia have so much in common, all pointing back to that shared past influenced by Indian traditions. The famous Ramayana epic, for example, has its own version in both countries, the Ramakien in Thailand and the Remkar in Cambodia. This shows just how deeply these cultural connections run. The conflict, therefore, is not just a political disagreement over a line on a map. It is a painful tearing apart of a shared cultural fabric. When we see reports of ancient Hindu temples being damaged, it strikes a chord deep within India. These are not just Cambodian or Thai heritage sites. They are part of a greater story of how Indian ideas shaped the world. The dispute over these sacred places is a reminder that borders are modern inventions, but culture and history are timeless. The fight between Thailand and Cambodia is a fight over who gets to be the primary guardian of this incredible legacy. For India, the hope is that both nations can find a way to protect this shared inheritance, rather than letting it become a casualty of war. It is a story that matters to us because it is, in a way, also our story. The current war did not begin overnight. Tensions along the border have been simmering for years, but they boiled over in the final days of July 2025. It started with small but deadly incidents. In late May, a Cambodian soldier was killed in a skirmish, raising the temperature. Then, on July 23rd, the situation escalated dramatically when a Thai soldier lost his leg to a landmine near the disputed border. This was not an isolated event. Several other soldiers had been wounded by mines in the preceding weeks. These small explosions were the sparks, igniting a fire that had been waiting to burn. Each incident pushed the two nations closer to the brink, making a peaceful resolution harder to achieve. The breaking point came on July 24th. In a major escalation, Cambodia allegedly fired rockets that landed in civilian areas inside Thailand. This was a red line. Thailand's response was swift and forceful. It unleashed its powerful American-made F-16 fighter jets, launching airstrikes against Cambodian military positions. This was no longer a small border clash. It was the beginning of a full-blown conflict. The sound of jets and explosions shattered the fragile peace, confirming the worst fears of international observers. Both countries immediately recalled their ambassadors and sealed their borders, signaling a complete breakdown of diplomatic relations and trapping thousands of people. The human cost of this sudden war has been devastating. In Thailand, at least 14 people have been killed, the vast majority of them civilians who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. One horrific attack saw 6 people killed at a gas station in a Thai border province. Tens of thousands of civilians on both sides of the border have been forced to flee their homes, becoming refugees in their own countries. Thai authorities have evacuated nearly 40,000 people from villages near the fighting, while Cambodia has moved thousands of its own citizens to safety. Hospitals have been damaged, and life for many has been turned upside down. As of today, July 25, 2025, the fighting continues to rage. Clashes are reported in at least 8 different locations along the border. a sign that the conflict is spreading. The situation remains extremely volatile, with both sides trading accusations and gunfire. The dream of a peaceful resolution seems more distant than ever. The international community is calling for calm, but on the ground, the sounds of war are drowning out the pleas for dialogue. What started as a dispute over ancient stones has now erupted into a modern war with very real and tragic consequences for ordinary people caught in the middle. When you look at Thailand and Cambodia on paper, the differences are stark. It is a classic story of David versus Goliath. Thailand is the regional powerhouse, a much larger and wealthier nation. It has a population of around 72 million people, which is more than 4 times larger than Cambodia's population of about 17.5 million. This difference in population size translates directly into economic and military strength. Thailand is a significant player in the global economy, a hub for manufacturing, tourism, and agriculture. Its size and resources give it a natural advantage in any prolonged conflict, allowing it to sustain a military campaign more easily than its smaller neighbor. The economic gap between the two countries is enormous. Thailand's economy, measured by its gross domestic product, is worth around $570 billion. In comparison, Cambodia's GDP is approximately $33 billion. This means Thailand's economy is more than 17 times larger than Cambodia's. This disparity is reflected in everything from infrastructure to public services. For Cambodia, this economic weakness is a major vulnerability. A long war could cripple its already fragile economy, which relies heavily on tourism, agriculture, and foreign aid. The economic pressure could become just as damaging as the military conflict itself, making it difficult for Cambodia to keep up the fight. This imbalance is most visible in their military capabilities. Thailand's defense budget is around $6 billion a year. It uses this money to maintain a modern and well-equipped army, navy, and air force, including advanced fighter jets like the F-16s it is now using in the conflict. Cambodia, on the other hand, has a defense budget of only about $600 million, 10 times smaller than Thailand's. Its military is smaller, has less advanced equipment, and lacks the sophisticated technology that its neighbor possesses. This military mismatch means that in a direct conventional war, Cambodia is at a significant disadvantage against the superior firepower of the Thai armed forces. Despite these huge differences, Cambodia is not backing down. History has shown that a smaller nation can resist a larger one, especially when fighting on its own turf and driven by a strong sense of nationalism. Cambodia may be weaker in terms of numbers and equipment, but its soldiers are fighting for what they see as their sovereign territory and national pride. This determination can be a powerful force, one that cannot be measured in dollars or tanks. The conflict is therefore not just a test of military strength, but also a test of political will and national resolve on both sides of the border. At the very heart of this war stands a magnificent 1,000-year-old temple, Preah Vihear. This ancient Hindu temple, dedicated to the god Shiva, sits on a dramatic cliff in the Dangrek Mountains, overlooking the Cambodian plains. It's a masterpiece of Khmer architecture and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But for Thailand and Cambodia, it's much more than just a historical monument. It's, a powerful symbol of national identity and sovereignty. For Cambodians, it's the crown jewel of the great Khmer Empire, a proof of their glorious past. For many Thais, it's a sacred site that they believe should have been part of their nation, a piece of their own history that was unfairly given away. The dispute over the temple isn't new. It actually dates back more than a century to the colonial era. The modern border was drawn in 1907 by French officials who were mapping the region. The map they created placed Preah Vihear on the Cambodian side of the border. For decades, Thailand disputed this map. The fight eventually went to the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, in The Hague. In a landmark ruling in 1962, the court decided that the temple did indeed belong to Cambodia. This decision was a major victory for Cambodia, but was never fully accepted by many in Thailand, where it remains a source of nationalist anger. The court's ruling, however, didn't solve the problem completely. While it gave the temple itself to Cambodia, it didn't clearly define the ownership of the land surrounding it. This ambiguity has been the source of endless tension and periodic clashes for decades. In 2013, the ICJ reaffirmed its earlier decision, clarifying that the entire promontory on which the temple stands belongs to Cambodia. But again, Thailand rejected the ruling, and its military has continued to patrol the contested area. This long history of legal battles and political disagreements has created a deep well of mistrust on both sides, making every small incident a potential trigger for a bigger conflict. For both countries, control over Preah Vihear and other nearby temples like Tham Nguyen Tom is a matter of national pride that really goes beyond legal arguments. Thai nationalists often use the temple issue to rally support, arguing that a weak government is giving away Thai territory. In Cambodia, the temple is a symbol of the nation's resilience and its right to exist as a sovereign state. This powerful symbolism means that neither side can afford to be seen as backing down. The temple has become a stage where both nations perform their patriotism, and unfortunately, this performance has now turned deadly, transforming a place of worship into a battlefield. This conflict between Thailand and Cambodia is not just a local dispute. It's, increasingly looking like a proxy war, a battle where two smaller countries fight on behalf of much larger, more powerful ones. The two global giants pulling the strings are the United States and China. This, honestly, turns the jungles of Southeast Asia into a new chessboard for a global power struggle. Thailand has long been a major ally of the United States in the region. Their military relationship is deep, and the US has provided Thailand with advanced military hardware, including the F-16 fighter jets that are now being used in the conflict. Washington's approval for Thailand to use these jets is a clear signal of its support. On the other side of the border, Cambodia has moved firmly into China's orbit. China is Cambodia's biggest trading partner and its most important political backer. It has invested billions of dollars in Cambodia, funding everything from roads and bridges to the expansion of the Ream naval base. This has raised concerns in Washington and other Western capitals that China is building a military foothold in Cambodia, giving its navy access to the strategically important Gulf of Thailand. From this perspective, Cambodia's fight with Thailand is not just its own. It's a fight underwritten by Chinese money and political support, making it a key piece in China's regional strategy. The involvement of these global powers raises the stakes significantly. It's not just about a temple or a border anymore. It's about influence and control in one of the most dynamic regions in the world. The United States sees its alliance with Thailand as a way to counter China's growing power and maintain its own presence in Southeast Asia. For China, a strong alliance with Cambodia provides a friendly partner in the heart of ASEAN and a potential military outpost that could challenge US dominance. The conflict becomes a test of these alliances, with each side watching to see how far the other is willing to go. Other countries are also involved. Pakistan, a close ally of China, has provided military training to Cambodian forces in recent years, further strengthening the ties between Phnom Penh and Beijing's allies. This network of support makes the situation even more complicated. The fight between Thailand and Cambodia is no longer just their own. It's become a flashpoint in the growing rivalry between the US and China. The fear is that a local border war could spiral into something much bigger, dragging in the world's superpowers and destabilizing the entire region for years to come. As the smoke clears and settles over the disputed border, the future of Southeast Asia really hangs in the balance. What happens next between Thailand and Cambodia could set a dangerous precedent for the entire region. One possibility is a quick negotiated ceasefire. Regional powers, led by Malaysia as the current chair of ASEAN, are desperately trying to bring both sides to the negotiating table. Both China and the United States have also called for de-escalation, since a full-scale war is not in their immediate interest. If diplomacy succeeds, the fighting could stop, and the two countries could return to a tense but stable standoff. But the deep-seated anger and nationalism on both sides make this a difficult path. A more frightening possibility is that the conflict could drag on, becoming a long and bloody war of attrition. Thailand has the military and economic advantage, but Cambodia, backed by China, might be able to sustain its resistance for longer than expected. A prolonged conflict would be catastrophic for both nations. It would destroy their economies, create a massive refugee crisis, and deepen the hatred between their peoples for generations. It would also paralyze ASEAN, the regional body designed to prevent such conflicts, proving it is ineffective in a real crisis. This would leave a power vacuum that could be filled by outside powers like China and the US. This conflict is also a crucial test for the new leaders in both countries. In Cambodia, Prime Minister Hun Manet, who only recently took over from his father, is facing his first major international crisis. His handling of the war will define his leadership both at home and abroad. In Thailand, the government is already unstable. The Prime Minister was recently suspended, creating a political vacuum. This internal weakness in Bangkok could make it harder for Thailand to manage the conflict effectively and could even tempt the powerful Thai military to take a more aggressive role, perhaps even leading to another coup. The political turmoil adds another layer of unpredictability to an already explosive situation. Ultimately, the temple war between Thailand and Cambodia is more than a dispute over land. It's, a sign of the changing geopolitical landscape in Asia. It shows how old rivalries can be inflamed by new global power struggles. The path they choose, whether it is the path of dialogue or the path of war, will not only decide the fate of their ancient temples, but will also shape the future of peace and stability in Southeast Asia. The world is watching, hoping that these two ancient kingdoms can find a way to step back from the brink before it is too late for them and for the region.